And good morning, everyone. Today is June 7th, 2018. I probably should have called this video on the road again because that's why everything's a little different this morning. I'm not sure how the connection will be in this particular area. I'm really close because of the room that I have to use. At any rate, hopefully everything will go okay. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. As I said, today is June 7th, 2018. This is a solemn day for myself and several others. I won't go into that, but I just want to mention it so that those who are watching that understand know that I'm taking note, okay? So I just want to bring that up. And as everybody can see, I've called this the age of deceit and fanaticism. You know, things are getting crazy. I thought about this morning what I should cover, and of course the OIG report, which they keep trying to put off, the situation with the Mueller investigation and how out of control that has become and how it's ripping the country apart. There's so many really bad things happening that I just didn't know where to start. Welcome as you come in, by the way, everyone. You know, it really is a tactic to overwhelm you with mass. It's a principle of war, and they're doing it with information just as much as they do it with soldiers and mechanized units and air forces and all that. Same thing I've talked about before, but we're seeing so much of it at this point on all sides. What you would consider the conservative good side as opposed to the leftist bad side, if you want to use those terms, and I do. It's really getting to the point where it's almost like people are nuts, are crazy. I was listening to Lionel the other morning, and he says this often now. He says, "Don't lose your mind. You know, take it easy. Don't lose your mind." Now, people will say, "Well, Roy, that's really weird coming from you because you get upset all the time." Yes, I do. But it's based on evidence, and it's based on information that I can corroborate, okay? And it's calling our leader. Usually when I get upset, I'm calling the leaders or people who purport to be leaders standing up with Trump, those types of things, or political leaders or whatever. Those are the people that I'm upset with. FBI, for instance, the DOJ, John McCain, those kinds of things. So there's a basis for what I'm doing, and there's a reason for what I'm doing. But that can be debated, and I'm not really here to try to excuse myself when I do lose my temper, because it's well known in the Potter family. There's a thing called the Potter temper, and we have one. And believe me, you don't want to have us go there. So I do try to keep it under control most of the time. But we have the Potter name is actually Viking. It's Norman. You know, the Norsemen came down to Normandy, which is the coast of France, and back around 1000 AD, and settled there. But they were actually Vikings, and the Potter name is not British. It's actually Viking. It's actually Scandinavian. So I have that fighting Viking blood in me, and it can get wicked. It can get wicked. So anyway, but in my defense, and in those like me, unlike the fanatics that I am seeing pop up all over the place, not just on the left side, but on the supposed right. To start this off, I'll just read a quote from Barry Goldwater, and most of you will know where I'm going with this. This is a quote from Barry Goldwater, okay? "Tolerance in the face of tyranny is no virtue. Extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice." Not fanaticism. "And moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue. Moderation in the protection of liberty is no virtue. Extremism in the defense of freedom is no vice. You can look that up. Look, just Google Barry Goldwater, and you can just put in extremism in the defense of virtue, in the defense of freedom is no vice, and you'll get that quote. And there are lots of others, but I wanted to start off with that and say that there's a difference between being adamant and forceful and making sure that you're emphasizing the points and standing up for truth. There's a difference between that and fanaticism. And fanaticism always involves deceit. Hence, the reason why I called this the age of deceit and fanaticism, because it's really gotten to that point. I'm not going to mention any specifics today. You can draw your own conclusions with what's in the news and what's happening. The attacks that are going on back and forth against people on both sides and people on the same side because they're not following their dogma. I'm going to show you my book here because I'm going to quote from it in a couple of places. Actually, it's on the same page. Just some things that I wrote here that I think are kind of important. And I've mentioned some of these before. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go here first. Too often, because it becomes fashionable, we jump on a bandwagon based on emotion, not on evidence, not on the things that will help us to prove our case. And the people who are largely in control of this are also the ones that will point fingers at others and claim that they're somehow bad because they don't buy the fanaticism or they don't buy the emotions of the moment. Let me just read this, and then I'm going to read something out of Matthew. My quote, okay? We must examine. Now I'm talking about the facts and the history of the first century here, but it applies with what we're seeing today too, because you all have probably heard me talk about the murder of Hypatia, the pagan leader, actually the head of the Alexandria Library, a beautiful, most intelligent woman whom the Christian fanatics killed, dismembered her, and it was a horrible thing. And that's what fanaticism turns to. The woman didn't deserve that, not at all, but it was merely because of who she was and what she stood for. And the people that couldn't get her and her kind to change their opinion then became violent over that. So let me read these things again. We must examine with particular demands on reason all aspects of the evidence if we are to be honest with ourselves. That's one quote. Then I'd like to quote this one. This is actually from an author. Let me give you the author so that you know who it is. And you're going to say, why would you quote those guys? Because I get information from all sources, okay? I don't go for things that just back up my own prejudices and biases. This is from Bajent, Lay, and Lincoln, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, okay? That's where this comes from, if any of you are familiar with that. And I know some of you will say, oh, that's... Hey, okay, just listen to what it says because it's true. This is quoting them. Quote, to put dogma above truth is no way to honor God. And that, my friends, is a fact. And I'm not the only one that said that. Following fanaticism and demands of obedience to an idea is the first sign that there are some really bad things going on. The left does it all the time. You see it in Antifa. You see it actually throughout. Look at the leftist members of Congress and how they demand that you do what they tell you to do, that you get in line. And they'll swear it's constitutional when they do that. They'll bring up the Constitution when they want to argue their point, but very rarely do they ever back it up otherwise. As a matter of fact, they almost never do. I want to read another thing here, and you'll say, gee, Ro, why all this? Well, because we're getting too far afield here. We're getting too far afield. There are too many people. And I'm actually shocked to see the people that are acting the way they are and going where they're going. I've been absolutely shocked in the last few days about this. Let me read Matthew 23:15. And I quoted this once before too. And think about this as to people who are trying to get you to join their club or their movement or whatever. Apply it to them, okay? Because this is what happens. It's Matthew 23, verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, in other words, when you get him to come into your little group, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. Man, isn't that the truth? So I wanted to bring that up today. I'm not planning on a long transmission this morning. Like I say, I'm kind of out and about. But I did want to touch base because this is getting out of control. And again, I'm not going to mention any particulars. You can go look at the news. You can go see what you think about things and use your own judgment. But, you know, I feared this back in November. I saw this coming, and it's just getting worse and worse. And especially since now we know the origins of some of that. But definitely that same mindset. It's not just being used for information and educating people. It's now become a situation where if you don't grab what they're telling you, then there's something wrong with you. I'm not going to take it any further than that. I'm enjoying my coffee here a little bit. Patty Burr is shocked. Roy, you've been all over the map. It's because I'm not intellectually dishonest, Patty. It's like I've said before. You know, I've gone through looking for the truth, looking for, you know, what really resonated with me. I've gone into things and checked them out. But I'm intellectually honest enough to say and to reveal when I find something that's wrong, I speak up. And I don't care what organization it is, be it religious, be it sectarian, be it corporate, be it governmental. It doesn't matter. You go by principle. And unfortunately, there's too much going on now with fanaticism and not with principle. And people are willing to deceive others to enforce their fanaticism. That's not a good place for us to be. Reason and evidence. Reason and evidence. I'll say it a third time. Reason and evidence. And it's notoriously lacking with a lot of folks today. Okay? Again, I'm not going to get into any particulars. You know, I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out where to go, okay? I could give you places to go listen, but you'll go, oh, no, not them. Okay, so it's not going to do me any good to say it because a lot of you are really good and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there are those out there who are going to look at this, what I'm saying here, and rightly so to them, that they are being juvenile and they are being fanatics. And it's dangerous because the enemies who want to destroy this republic are using your own prejudices, biases, fanaticism, and ignorance against you that you think is holy and that you're truth seekers and that you're going down the road to reveal the evil on this or that or whatever. And you're not. You're not. I could mention the situation that happened in DC. You know, we know the ties, the pedophilic ties that are going on within the government and within corporations. And it wasn't that the accusation about the DC location, if you can read between the lines, was wrong. It was how we went about it. Because it jumped into the emotional category before the evidence was gathered. Now, can we depend on law enforcement to do this? Probably not. But people and a lot of people are going to say, oh, Craig Sawyer, oh, yuck, Craig Sawyer. No. Craig Sawyer's proven himself, okay? Everybody has to have, a a stake in what they do. Some of it's just, they want to help people. And I can't speak for all of Craig Sawyer's motivations, but he's proven to me, that's why I promote Veterans for Child Rescue. Yeah, they have to survive. Yeah, he's probably getting paid from it. I don't know that. That doesn't make any difference to me. He's doing something. Does that mean I agree with everything he says? Well, in a lot of things, he knows far more than I do, and I'd certainly admit that. But, there are people that are tearing him down right now, and that's not right. I heard somebody say, and I have a lot of respect for these people, and some of them are just looking for evidence. They're saying, give us the evidence. Where's the evidence of this? Well, as far as I'm concerned, the fruits of Craig Sawyer are good. Again, that doesn't mean that I agree with him on everything. Because, first of all, I don't trust the federal law enforcement at all, at any level, because I've seen what they do for too long. And that's one reason why it's probably good that citizens go out there and try to gather evidence. But there's a difference between evidence and emotional drama and staging. And especially when you have people that have a history of violent actions and pretenses and always saying guns are the issue. That's where we got to go. Have our guns and get up here and get ready to go. There are times for that, and at least in at least two situations that I know of in the last 3 years. I'm not talking about Bundy Ranch itself, but a couple of other things, including what's going on now. This idea that guns are the answer is just out of control. Reason and evidence, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have it, don't come and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. So that's where I am today. I'm very disappointed that Congress would even consider giving Andy McCabe immunity. This is outrageous. They've got the evidence on him. They ought to arrest him now. But who's going to do it? Andy McCabe should just be to hell with it. He can take the fifth, arrest his ass, and put him in jail. Let him come up with bail to get out. I don't know. I don't even know under the charges if he could, if it goes to treason. But they keep wanting to, the deep state is playing with each other. Look what Trey Gowdy just did. Is anybody really surprised that Trey Gowdy would defend the FBI on their corruption and their criminal behavior? I'm not. That guy's been a drama theater major even as a member of Congress. And he impresses me when he talks, but his actions are just not there. And now the deep state is maneuvering to protect all these guys because the FBI and the DOJ is with the senior executive service and all that is their enforcement arm along with the CIA and the military against the American people wanting to get free from these intelligence community people, these deep staters. The American people want to get free from their democracy, their democratic institutions. Where might makes right. That's what they're actually saying in the IC. That's what Clapper actually meant. That's what Brennan actually meant. That's what Comey actually meant. Might makes right. Might makes the government. Not the people voting. Not the people. Not the Republican, the constitutional Republican form of government. But two wolves eating a lamb for dinner. That's what they're saying, and that's what they believe in, that they have the right to dictate everything from start to finish. And there's some really bad stuff going on right now. I mean, even with Trump in there, the situation with the DHS, Nielsen, I talked about the other day, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Starting to get down names of bloggers and people and their position on issues and all that. Even under Trump, it just seems like nobody can stop this. I'm not going to blame Trump entirely. I see the problem in who he picked in the first place. Like I said, he's probably a political neophyte. He was just trying to keep the government running. Well, as I've said, embarrass the government, shut it down. I really don't care. We're probably better off. I've heard some people say, we don't even need governments anymore. And we probably don't. They've done more damage than if we had anarchy. I'm convinced of that. 200 million people plus in the 20th century because of governments. Yeah. But the political reality is right now we still have to secure ourselves. But you know what? I don't think the American people are going to be able to pull this off. I don't think you are. Not with what I'm seeing. And like I said, I've seen some people come out here in the last few days. I thought, well, let's just say if the ones I'm looking at went down this rabbit hole, then, boy, I was a real bad judge of character. Because it seems like to me, well, at any rate, I'm just disgusted. So we have all this deceit and fanaticism in Congress. Look what they did to Melania. Yeah, the poor woman was sick. She had to go in for surgery, and basically what they've done is they've maligned Melania and President Trump. Not on evidence, on emotion, on hearsay. And we're seeing that not just the leftists attacking Trump and Melania, but the people on the right. Again, I called Trump out on things that he does or does not do. Okay? If he stands for the agenda, I love the guy anyway. But if he can stand on the agenda and get it accomplished, then I can trust him. Because I see his rhetoric being matched on the ground. And there have been some problems there, and you all know about it. But these blatant, emotional, fanatical attacks are ridiculous. And here we go on some other things here recently. And it's the same group of people that started this back in November. It's really just ballooned out from there. And it's really disgusting. Okay. I'll go ahead. My big thing this morning was that, and also talking about the situation with the FBI corruption, the DOJ corruption. By the way, I saw some of these same people I'm talking about defending, oh, look at Sessions. He's hired all these DOJ people. You know, they're going after the bad guys. We don't need more DOJ attorneys, especially not in the war on drugs. Yeah, I know there's an opioid crisis. There's another way to combat that without giving the corrupt DOJ more people to screw up the country. I thought the idea was to cut down on the size of government. But those of you who think that those attorneys are actually going to be used against the deep state, man, are you being... You're being fooled. That's not what's happening there. It's just like those 30,000 or plus sealed indictments, you know. What are those really about? Well, it wasn't Trump's people that were in power to do that. Sorry, just not the case. Called for the release of the Wooten number 2 memo down in the Bunkerville case in Nevada. We all need to do that. Those of you who aren't fanatics, you know, and understand what was really being the whole situation there and what actually occurred, and why it's so important, and why that memo from Wooten, that number 2 memo, needs to be unsealed. And I called for President Trump to use his power to go ahead and unseal it and show how corrupt and disgusting the DOJ and the FBI and a lot of the other 3-letter agencies are. That would, of course, include the Bureau of Land Management. So if Trump wants to do something positive to get the eyes off of him for a while and off this whole ridiculous witch hunt that Mueller and the Democrats are doing, all he has to do is order Jeff Sessions to go in and unseal that DOJ, what the U.S. attorneys sealed there from BLM agent Wooten. And if Jeff Sessions refuses, fire his ass. And then President Trump just do it himself. I guarantee you the revelations from that are going to be incredible, and that needs to be done. Because I'm sick and tired of coddling the deep state and the intelligence community, which is the most dangerous enemy that we have in the entire world. The entire world. And the motto on my channel, of course, is the intel community is our most dangerous domestic enemy. Frankly, they're the most dangerous enemy in the entire world. It's no wonder, you know, people try to defend themselves against this. Look what we've done. And people that just want to wave the flag and say, America, America, you know, you got to open your eyes and see what's really happened in your name. Yeah, I'm on one this morning because I'm just disgusted with the way people are, and especially on the right, because I expected more. I expected some intelligence and some demands on reason. Strength in demonstrating, strength in demanding that things be done. That's one thing. But the rest of this is really out of hand. Candace K. Roy, those indictments are for MSK or MS-13 gang members. Then why haven't they arrested them? Can you answer me that? They haven't been arrested. Do you understand? I don't think it's just for MS-13. No, I don't think that, because Jeff Sessions isn't really doing that. They had that wave, and they're still doing it. I agree, but not 30,000 worth. No, sorry, I don't believe that. What's the evidence? What would keep you from arresting MS-13 members based on the indictments already issued? Nothing. No, this is a political deal. I guarantee you there's a political thing going on behind the scenes here. Those aren't Trump's people that are issuing those indictments. I'm sorry, they just aren't. Okay. Let's see what we go here. Trump is allowing the 5G to go ahead full force. Candace, well, that's true in one aspect, and I consider that to be bad. But he did shut down Broadcom, which was the Chinese control of our 5G. That's why Soros has moved to Europe. That was his plan B. That doesn't mean that Trump can keep control of it. I don't think we should go to 5G at all, but I talked about that being the ring of power and how it relates to the Lord of the Rings and to our government, and particularly the president, be it Trump or somebody else. That is an aphrodisiac of power. Just think what they can do with that. And I've talked to some experts who say that even Trump can't stop it. The only thing that we can hope for is that the right people get in control of it, but you know how that works. The evil always does. And every weapon that's ever been devised has always been used. We're a wicked, wicked, evil race. Not all of us, not all individuals, but collectively. And collectively, actually, most people are okay. But those damn psychopaths and sociopaths always go to the top. Why? Because the people are too lazy to govern themselves. That's why. Just like this fanaticism that's going on now. Let's see who that is. Okay. All right, let's see a couple of other things. Like I said, I'm not getting into any details today. I just don't think it's worth it. Rusty Parker, this is all a big farce until everything is in place, then whammy, unless we all come together. Well, the way I'm seeing it right now is, if you believe this thing, if you believe this, it's kind of, all right, we don't all come together. There's a remnant. That's the way the scriptures talk about it, a remnant. That doesn't sound too promising to me. I probably went into this with some idea. Yeah, I had one of my first videos was resolution of a former idealist, and even for that I took a lot of flack. But, really, the realistic situation here is that, it's a very small number of people that are actually willing to do the spiritual and intellectual and physical, make the proper efforts to raise themselves to a level that is honest and has some integrity. I'm not seeing many people willing to do that, especially, like I said, in the last few days. I'm about ready to turn off my Twitter, frankly, because it's turned into it's it's almost I could still get good information there because of some of the other things I follow, but I mean it's really just out of control. It's out of control. Comey better attorney up. Well, Mark, I hope so. I hope that's where this is going. Yeah, McCabe and Comey seem to be at each other's throats. Yeah, I think, and you know, I've been yelling about FBI agents and other people coming forward. I've been begging for that for years, that they become whistleblowers. I know that the hazards involved. I've been there. I know. Believe me, I've been there. But your family's lives are at stake. Americans' lives are at stake. The world, the people of the world, their lives are at stake. So this cowardice of not wanting to come forward is just mind-boggling to me. You know, it's really just another form of passing their children through the fire of Molech. Their inaction, their silence as agreement is really nothing more than agreeing to worship Molech and pass their children through the fire. That's really what it is. And every day that they allow this government, these corrupt organizations, and I'm talking about these FBI agents, are afraid to testify, right? Every day they refuse to take action to correct this. More innocent people. What they've done to Trump, they do to the American people wholesale. Frame them, set them up, accuse them falsely. Put them in a situation where they have to fight to live, to survive. And then call them criminals for doing it. It's evil. It's perpetual. It's the cultivation of perpetual warfare. What we see with the DOD and the IC doing these regime changes and setting up these governments and then tearing them down. ISIS, setting up ISIS, then fighting ISIS, the enemy they create. Hamas, Israel setting up Hamas and then fighting Hamas. All this stuff. Well, it's the same thing here. They're doing the same thing to American citizens. And Congress lets them get away with it. President Trump's trying to reel it in, but look at Paul Ryan. If anybody ever doubted that he is a plant, that he really is a rhino, he really is, and worse, well, there should be no doubt in your mind now. He and McCain and all those guys are all in bed together. And they're not about you. They're about them. I just pray that Donald Trump can find the right people. When he stood up with all those military officers, back in October, was it? When he said, well, there's a storm coming, and the press was saying, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? He says, you'll see. Well, I hope that he has good people there. So far, I'm not so sure. But more than that, people that have the ability to make this happen. And I'm not sure that it's there. Not when I see what's going on, how easily, especially conservatives, emotionally jump on a bandwagon because it fits their narrative. Oh well. Okay. Looks like the chat's going pretty slow. How many people we got on here? Only a few hundred. Well, like I said, I didn't really come on here to go into any details today. It's almost getting fruitless to do that because so much is happening, and I try to give you, when I come on, like I did the other day, give you information that not everybody else is covering, because everybody else is covering it. All right. I like to maybe comment on it slightly and then move on, but I like to try to touch on things that aren't really being covered, because those are, it's a magic trick. They do this stuff out in the open to get your attention, but the real problems are going on over here. Like was just mentioned, the 5G and the stratospheric aerosol injection, the nanotech, the panopticon. That's the real danger. Remember, Comey said, we have a right. We're even going to demand that we look into your thoughts. Whatever happened to the Constitution? Whatever happened to the right to be an individual and be secure in yourself, your possessions, your papers, etc.? They've thrown it all away. And don't think it's to protect you. It's to protect them in their evil, damnable corruption and crimes. All you got to do is open your eyes and see it. Yeah, Davos and Bilderberg is pushing for 5G. Of course. Hey, Bliss, how you doing? Yes, of course. Because that is part of the panopticon. That's what they've been working for a long time. And I don't know why, I would like to see Trump just come out and say the MSM is the IC. The 5G is a panopticon prison. It has technological advantages for mankind if it was used properly, but it's not going to be. I guess there's some places you just can't go. Okay. Yeah. Hooah. Michael Burns. Hooah. Hooah, sir. Well, hooah. Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people think I'm against the military. I'm really not. I'm against its misuse. It used to be called the Department of War. We were intellectually honest, and then we changed it for propaganda reasons to call it the Department of Defense, which it is not. It is not. It is being used to further the aims of the deep state, the New World Order, and to kill people wholesale. And but the idea of a warrior defending his people, that's noble. But even there, it's a necessary evil. But it's noble when it's done for the right reason. I've quoted Cicero before. I'm not going to do it here again. But the idea of force without justice is evil. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Like I said, I just wanted to do a really quick one this morning. I'm hoping that Congress will not, I don't know what happened on this. Maybe it's already been decided. I'm hoping that they do not allow McCabe to get immunity. Again, that's going to send the wrong message, and they'll set up the entire deep state for immunity at that point. Just go ahead and use the evidence you've got. Collar him, throw him in jail, let him come up with bail, and prosecute him. I'm sick of this. Coddling these battles. They can find out what's happened without McCabe. If they want to use him as a witness against the others, these are liars. Just go with the evidence you have. That's enough. That's all you need to lock these bastards and these bitches up. And that's what they are. Okay, everybody. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears on the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. Prep, pray, stay out of the way. I know, prepping, I talk about that. People say, well, nothing's happening. Better be ready a year too early and a day too late. And praying always. We really need to do that. Everybody wants to be right. Kind of natural. But there are very, very few that want to get right. It's a pride thing. And we are a prideful and arrogant culture. God bless you. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And may God bless Donald Trump in all of his righteous endeavors. And may God send the spirit of discernment down upon President Trump, that the power of discernment will distill upon him as the dews from heaven, and that he will be able to choose, see the right from the wrong, choose the right, and courageously defend it. And again, I'm glad to see that Melania Trump is coming along. She is, she really is. I think she's the real symbol of where we're supposed to be. So let's hope so. Okay. I think that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and check out. I'll run a little thing here. I don't even know which one it is, but I'm going to run a little thing that Pam Jones did. All of these intros and things, not all of them. all of the ones that I played today are things that Pam's done to me, and she's actually taking. She got a hold of me yesterday, and she said, "Hey Roy, if you send me the music you hear usually on my opening when I do it normally over the long run that we've done, is music that I arranged back from the Crimson Thread movie, and all that early music was mine, and all the music that's coming on with Pam's, of course, is copyrighted material that she's using. But at any rate, yesterday she called me. She said, if you send me your opening battle arrangement, that's the one that is. I'll incorporate it in another intro video." So who can refuse that offer? So I went ahead and said, not that I won't use all the others that she's done, but having my own music is something that I of course I like. So we'll see how that works out. So I'm going to choose one of these. I don't know which one it's going to be. It's going to be about 30 seconds long, less than a minute. But I'll check out, say thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time out here.